Are you a fan of Al Pacino
Hell yeah,
and
of course.
De Niro?
Al Pacino, Al Pacino to me is an amazing actor. He's amazing. Like the dude, he's so, like you said, smooth with everything he does. You know, he's one of those dudes. And not every, I want to say, well, he has some bad movies. Like to me, the one with Keanu Reeves was kind of like whatever.
Devil's Advocate?
You like Devil's Advocate?
You out of your mind?
I thought
That
it was
might
like-
have been Keanu Reeves. That's the only role I wouldn't put Brandon Lee in.
But I'm talking about Al Pacino's role. I think
No,
Al
no,
Pacino
no,
was
no.
like whatever in that movie. Same thing in Any Given Sunday. He was kind of like whatever.
That version of Al
Like, he
when
was
he's
kinda
all like,
like,
"Rah,
Yeah, like he was
I'm
kinda
Al
like whatever.
Pacino."
Yeah, like he's, I'm
geez,
kind of
take it
like
easy.
it was whatever. Like I like when he goes into a character, like a deep into a character. So how's you guys format? You guys just start up opening or whatever?
Are we going? Yeah. Oh yeah, we're going.
Mike, now you straight from the south side. Mike, now you. I'm just so happy to be here right now. Real Rap podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, boys and girls.
It's a good start. Good start.
Yeah,
good start.
yeah, why not, man? Children of all ages, we are back. Another episode of the Real Rap Podcast. I believe this is episode number 12. I have with me right now a very special guest. I have Miguel. He is right now the face, one half of the highly successful IMO, in my opinion, podcast. I mean, thousands of subscribers, doing numbers like crazy. I've subscribed. I've been watching. I suggest you guys do the same. We're going to go ahead and get right into this, man. If you wouldn't mind, Miguel, letting the listeners know how long you've been in the game, your name, a little bit about yourself.
Well, like you said, my name is Miguel Rivera. I am one half of the IMO team. Jonathan, unfortunately, could not be here today. Kids couldn't find
you
a
trying to be a
sitter the whole
responsible
night.
father? Look at
Yeah,
this
he was
guy.
trying to be a responsible father. But yeah, I mean, it's just a podcast that we came up with, right when the pandemic started because we were fucking bored. And yeah, the pandemic was, I mean, it's still obviously a thing and it's a bad thing. But it did, open people's minds to try different things, different outlets, especially nowadays and with technology, what we have now, you can get out there a lot easier now than you did when we were kids.
So you guys are just sitting there talking about it one day, and then you were like, you know what, we got to do something. The pandemic, we're bored, and then boom, turn the cameras on, and then let's go. What was the early days like for you?
So, like you said, one day, I mean, I kid you not, I listen to a lot of podcasts and stuff on YouTube and whatever when I'm at work and all that. And me and him, we talk about a lot of stuff. We talk about everything. We grew up together, so like we know each other pretty well. And obviously, we make our, we laugh at our own stupid shit and all that.
Yeah.
So I think, he has a different story than I do. I think I have the accurate story. I was just like, hey, why don't we just put our stupid shit on the internet and see who laughs with us or whatever.
Right.
And that's kind of where it started, and then I started, looking at, microphones and stuff like that. Because I'm a tech guy. We started with something real simple, laptop, computer, a couple mics, audio only on YouTube, which doesn't make any fucking sense, but okay. Right? Who the hell puts audio on a video platform?
You just
know what I
had
mean?
like a still shot playing.
Yeah,
the whole
it
time?
was just the fucking name of the show.
Just you in a tanning booth.
I mean, dude, it
You
was
know,
it was. So, I didn't think about that one clearly, long enough. So fucking, we did our first couple episodes like that, and we sound like fucking robots too. Like, like it's one of those things. I'm pretty sure you as well.
Yeah.
It's something you get comfortable in.
I am interested in, so you started like with an investment into yourself. So you went from 0 to 60 and said, all right, let's get some microphones. Then you went off, started getting like equipment, and then you went straight to YouTube, even though it was just audio. And then I know some people, when they're getting into this space, they just strictly their phone. And then whatever the camera phone's doing or whatever the microphone on the camera was doing. Like, did you see the end in the beginning? You were like, hey, start making the investment now on this equipment because it's going to go somewhere.
Honestly, no, because I honestly thought I wasn't gonna get like 2 subscribers. I thought it was gonna be me, John, and maybe one other person, and that's all we were gonna have. I never thought that we'd be where we are right now.
Right.
And that's the truth. That's honest truth. But again, I'm one of those dudes that I want to keep progressing and keep improving and whatever. And it's kind of like John kind of hates me for it because then it starts costing more money and more money and more money.
Right.
But at the end of the day, again, it's something we have fun doing. But honestly, excuse me. The reason I really wanted to do it, one of the
Okay.
reasons why I wanted to add cameras and stuff like that to it was because I had just got signed with an agency
Mm-hmm.
at the time, so I was starting to get into my acting stuff, and I was stupid nervous, like stupid nervous doing auditions and all that. Like you could hear the paper shaking in my hand, kind of shit.
Ah, okay.
You know. So while the pandemic shut everything down, right, because there was no more auditions, no more TV shows, nothing of that nature, I kind of thought, I'm like, how can I get comfortable?
Okay.
I'm like, well, what's in the play every time I'm in an audition? Oh, there's a camera. Okay, well, let's put a camera and let's talk.
Right,
Because
right.
that's what we do in an audition, technically, right? If I can get comfortable in front of a camera,
Then,
maybe I can relax more when I'm trying to deliver my lines because I'm not so worried about the camera because the
Mhm.
camera's kind of second nature. You know
did
what I'm
it
saying?
actually help?
Yeah, absolutely. Like
Okay.
even right now, if this would have been when we started, if you would have invited me the first week
Mhm.
that I started, I'd probably be nervous as shit right now.
Right, right.
But this is kind of like second nature already.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I know there's lights here, I know there's the camera there,
Yeah.
but it doesn't bug me or impede me from talking or whatever. I can be myself in front of it now. I'm assuming the same
Mm.
thing with you. I mean, at one point you started, and it's always that first step, and
On
then you
comedy,
get
yeah.
comfortable. Like even on the stage as well. Like you're always nervous when you start.
Yeah. Well, I believe. I mean, a lot of it translates the same from comedy to acting, vice versa. Is that being in the moment is what's most important,
Yeah.
and then the rest of that kind of fades into the background or what have you, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, you get this because I who said it? I had a friend who came on my podcast and he said something like you know being nervous and how did he say it? He was basically trying to explain the differences between being nervous and being excited. They're the same feeling, but one means that you're not prepared. Being nervous is
Wow.
that you're
Okay.
not prepared. Being excited is you're prepared. You just want to do it.
Yeah. You.
And
Yeah.
that stuck with me because it made sense. Like when he told me, I
Yeah.
was like, oh shit, you know what, dude? You should probably like put that in a Hallmark card or something or some shit. Like quote that shit. That shit was
That's
deep.
definitely an Instagram post.
That shit deep. I mean, if you really think about it, it's fucking deep, and it makes a lot of sense. So like again, I've always wanted to make it where everything was comfortable for me.
Okay.
You know?
And I definitely do want to dive in to the acting part of your life because I'm in the comedy world and there's just about every comic out there wants to be in some form of acting, whether that's comedic role or a regular role or what have you. So that process, getting into that. What is your process like, say, going into auditions? Are you in your head visualizing? Are you at home preparing for the role? Are you going in there like, I'm just gonna go off of what they give me, or what do you do? What are you doing with this energy that you're even talking about now?
Um. Okay. So I'm kind of a weird dude. So
Mm.
I'm very my mind is very kind of creative. Some people
Mm.
would say. I don't like to say it that much, but in a
Sure.
way it is. Um. Once I get so like the process goes basically. If you have an agent, they'll give you an email saying, "Hey, you've been invited to audition for such and
Okay.
such part." Right. Basically, what that means is that the company who's casting
Mm.
looked at the roster and they saw you and they saw, okay, maybe he can
Okay.
fit this part. We're gonna send them some sides. So they'll send you sides, which are basically a little part of the script
Mm.
for you to record yourself, send it in. So the thing is, the hard part for me is they don't give you a lot. It's like when
Mm.
you get a part, you get maybe one or two lines, and then maybe a line before, line in the middle, line after of another character that's there with
Build
you.
some context.
But you can't even do that because it's barely anything. Like
Mm.
you don't really get maybe you'll be lucky if it's an interior shot, time of day, maybe location, maybe what's going on, but nothing of filler story.
Okay.
So like the hard part is, trying to figure out what they want.
Picking an emotion.
Right, picking an emotion, trying to figure out what the story actually means. And if you can't figure it out, to me, I make one up because I want to show
Mm.
that I made a decision. I may be wrong. And a lot of
Sure.
times it has been wrong. But I want to show to whoever's casting that I can make a decision.
In that decision, so is that specifically like, okay, this is the emotion, I'm internalizing this character, and I'm gonna go with fear, anger, happiness,
Correct.
sadness, love, or whatever.
Correct. So like if I get a role and it's I'm let's say I did an audition for PD a long time ago
Mm-hmm.
where I get pulled out of a car at gunpoint, blah blah blah. So my first thing is, okay, I read it, see what's kind of going on. I think it was like they were looking for someone who was kidnapped,
Okay.
and I was their Uber driver, their last Uber driver.
Okay.
So I started to think about, okay, how do I feel in this moment, and how do I want to show it?
All right.
So am I
Did you go
scared?
method and go like the Chatham neighborhood with like a
No,
whole bunch of
method,
shiny?
dude. Method is something else, man. The people who are into the method, I give y'all credit because that is some type of dedication, boy. I cannot. Can you imagine? Can you imagine what it must be like to be in a role 24 hours a day for months? Holy shit.
Bless the dead, man. Who was Joker in the
Heath Ledger.
Yeah, could you just nonstop Joker all day? It's like,
mean,
hey,
I
you want
could-
the club sandwich
tell you
or,
what, I
or the
could.
fucking Hogan? He's like, nah.
I'll tell you what. You know what? I fell in love with his performance so much that I bet you I would love to do that all day, every day. You know, I would just love to do it. You know what I'm saying?
Wear you out though, bro.
I mean, yeah, but that's a whole different type of dedication. You know what I'm saying? Like same thing with like I know Christian Bale's really deep into his shit.
Yeah, but don't do that voice if I ask you for some gum.
No. I probably could do, but I'm not gonna. But like method acting is a whole nother level. You know, to me that's a whole nother level. Would I love to try it a day? Sure, but I'm not there right now. I'm not there right now. I'm gonna take it nice and slow. That's a whole different can of worms. But to me, like I said, I mean, again, I don't really get super in depth in character work during auditions because auditions are just auditions. You're gonna get, once you get picked, that's a different story.
Okay.
Because now you really got to dive deep into this
now
character.
You gotta be balls deep.
Right? Yeah, you got to be deep because I mean you go imagine you're a method actor and you go all crazy over a couple day period trying to build this character and then no, you don't get it. You know, I mean, yeah, you did the work and it's great, but I mean, you have to pick something and roll with it.
Got you. Right.
You know, and that's kind of what I do. So like I read the script, I kind of figure out what's going on, and then I start to put things together. You know, while I'm at the same time while I'm working on memorizing the lines that I have to say, which I think is one of the bigger challenges.
So to my listeners that have aspiration dreams of being in front of the camera when it comes to acting, right? So we were talking. I want to say that you've done some work on like some soaps, some daytime TV, but also you did do Chicago P.D. Then also we were talking earlier, and you said you were with J.K. Simmons, who I put him up there. He's top 20 easy. You can make an argument for me that he's top 15. And he's not even really all that prolific as far as roles go. I'm thinking just a handful of roles that he just destroyed, right, bro? But you had a chance to do a scene with him. Again, for my watchers and my listeners that are thinking about crossover into that game, what is he giving you in that moment? When you guys are on the clock, boom, action. Well, what is he giving you that makes him J.K. Simmons?
He's a fucking pro. Like, he's a fucking pro.
Can you define that? Can you put that into words?
Let's put it like this: if me and you have a scene and we're whatever, we say action. We would stick to script. Like we would be so tied down to our script that going off of it would throw us off.
Got you. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So like, let's say our lines is, what time are we going to go to the game? Your line is, I'm going to go at 6. Okay, so if I say, what time are we going to go to the game? I don't say that. I say, what time are we going to get out of here? That would throw you off because we're so tied to our lines. But when you've been so many years in the game, you can't throw him off. So part of my lines, I had 5 lines with him and then a bunch of improv. Right? So I'm trying to fuck with him in the improv, right? Because I'm like, let's have some fun.
You're throwing a behind the back pass.
Yeah, just something to see if he laughs or whatever, because the whole concept was he was having issues with his wife, his car breaks down, I'm the AAA guy.
Okay.
Right? So, car breaks down, we're kind of in the middle of nowhere, his wife's inside the car, he's kind of tripping out. I try to say something funny. I try to say, so did you and your wife have a good night tonight? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And he's just delivered.
So he's embodying the character, the moment. He's truly in the moment, in the realm of acting.
Exactly, because his mentality is exactly how that character would answer that question. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just amazing to see, people that we see on television and we see on TV and movies do what they do.
No, absolutely.
That was the most amazing part of the whole situation, was actually like seeing him do something.
Okay.
That's inspiring to me.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of obviously similarities. It's performance art, right? And there's a lot of similarities probably with comedy. So especially if you're starting out, more than likely you're gonna focus on your script, which is your jokes and whatever your punchline is. And if somebody talks in the crowd, they can throw you off the
Right.
same way you were saying, hey, if somebody goes off script or what have you. And then the longer you're in the game, or even if you're watching somebody, you can start to just fuck with the audience or incorporate other people, riff, do whatever you're doing and still maintain,
Right.
stay in. It stops being a script and just becomes a guideline.
Exactly.
So now that's you working with actors, right? When it comes to directors, is there a type of director that you've come across? Do they fit in categories? Are some people like letting you breathe? Some people are just strictly to the script. Like, what kind of director would you prefer? Somebody that's this is what we're doing.
You know, I big time actors. I've only had a few.
Okay.
You know, I'm like I said, I'm very green in this
I mean,
business.
you're a big time actor.
You know what I'm saying? And I like to think of myself as a professional.
Okay.
So like I a long time ago I had a class and a teacher told me one time and he's like, when you audition, you deliver the pizza because that's what they want. So I look at it like this. You know what? I'm gonna deliver the pizza. So what's my job? I gotta know my lines. I gotta be open to what their direction is,
Mm.
but I gotta be prepared. You know, like to me, honestly, the coolest thing is if I'm so prepared that the director doesn't tell me anything. I love that
Mm.
feeling. That means I
Okay.
did my homework. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, when I was on PD, mind you, I had a smaller part, but the director was grilling other people,
Mm.
and the director didn't tell me that. Good job. What more do I need?
Okay.
You know, that's how prepared you have to be. Now you have to be open. Don't get me wrong. And this is when it becomes, a thing of training. Like the way I look at, like you were talking about, different emotions that you can display.
Mm.
Happy, sad, blah 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 blah. So in my preparation, I tend to change my emotion so I can
Okay.
have them in my bag. I know which one I want to use.
That's what I'm trying to get to.
But then
Okay.
if the director says, "Hey, change it up a little bit for me,"
Mm.
all right, I got you. I could do this happy. I could do this mad. I could do this as a
Mm.
question. I could do this as an answer. I could do this however you want me to do it. You know what I'm saying? But
Mm.
that's all part of prep. That's a
Okay.
lot of prep. I don't know if you heard recently in the new Batman movie, the guy who played the Riddler,
Okay.
he literally at one point they were saying that there was a take of the movie that literally took about 200 takes because he wanted to try so many different ways.
Mm.
That's awesome. I mean, it's dragging. That takes a lot of time, a lot of
Sure.
effort. But like that's to me, it's like, oh shit, like I kind of do that too. I'm like, that's you got to learn how to do this. You got to put in the work and you got to practice.
And is better prep for you off camera, off stage, working with a partner, working by yourself, or is it like, hey, we got film, it's digital, let's keep rolling. I wouldn't mind doing it again.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely wouldn't mind doing it again. Always, you know what I'm saying.
Mhm.
But at the same time, you gotta trust in who's behind the camera because they have a job.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? And when you say that, you mean in prep prior to shooting or during shooting?
Yeah, what's the best preparation leading up to the moment when you're cutting? So I would imagine the longer you have in the game, the more leeway you have with the director. Like Gary Oldman, we were talking about
Do
him.
whatever the fuck you
Gary
want.
Oldman would be like, hey, run it back.
You know what? I saw that actually happen while I was on PD. We had a scene where it was like a party,
Hmm.
and then the whole gang bust in, and they start, you know, grabbing people and whatever. And the director was there, and she was like, "Oh, we're gonna do it like this." And here come the guys, and the guys
Yeah.
are like, "No, man, we should do it like this and like this." And I'm like, I kind of feel bad. I kind of feel bad for the director, lady. I kind of felt bad, but I'm like, I get it because they've been there. How many seasons have they been on there?
Okay.
They probably know more about that show
Right,
than
right,
the
right.
director who they alternate every season or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But
Makes sense.
I think you still have to be like at my point in my career, I'm a shut up and listen kind of guy.
Mm.
Like what if she's been doing this more than I have.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take what she says and work with that. I'll tie in a little bit here and there. I'll
Mhm.
ask my questions because that's my right. I can ask my question. I can
Yeah.
bring up whatever I want to bring up. But prep is key, man. Like prepping prior to getting there is the key.
Mm.
That is the key.
With just about anything, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. Now I do want to get back to something that we had touched on earlier because you were definitely prepped for entertainment and questioning and all that other good stuff, because you were very slick when I asked you, is Tom Cruise top 10? And you gave me the best non-answer I've heard in a number of years. And I'm going to get to the bottom of this.
Okay, Tom Cruise is a great actor. He's a great actor.
Do you see these professional non-answers, Big Joe?
I'm
taking lessons right now.
I'm trying to be very honest here. He's a great actor. He never calls my attention as much as other people. And I love them. Like, for example, I love them in probably, I don't know if you're a fan of this movie, but like Minority Report.
Yeah,
I loved Minority Report for some reason. I don't know why I loved it, and he did a really good performance there. But I can put a lot of actors ahead of him that have done better performances.
Yeah, he is the white Jackie Chan.
Yeah,
of action movies.
I mean, he is good. Let me not misunderstand.
You're not even giving him the great title. So you have Tom Cruise coming off the bench to clean up during.
Yeah, I think
you have him coming off the bench to start the second half.
I think he's coming off the bench.
Whoa!
I think he's coming. He might be the sixth man. He might get the sixth man award.
Tom Ron Harper Cruise.
Yeah. I think he's getting the sixth man.
Wow, my boy.
I think he's getting the sixth man. As good as he is, I think he's good. But I can name a lot of them that to me are better performers. You know,
he does stick to one lane. So I think you hired Tom Cruise to be Tom Cruise. But in that same vein, I think you hired Jack Nicholson to be Jack Nicholson.
That too. Yeah. I mean, yeah, they're about the same kind of character. Jack Nicholson's good in a couple of his movies. He's amazing.
Yeah.
But like you just said, a lot of movies.
He's an amazing Jack Nicholson.
Yeah.
He's not being anything else.
Yeah. I mean, but a lot of actors are like that. A lot of actors are like they play themselves.
I might just be getting old and I'm just stuck with the cast of characters from my adolescence and my younger years coming up. Why are we not talking about this newer batch of why am I not talking about this newer batch of actors and actresses the same way I talk about Denzel, the same way I talk about Brad Pitt, the same way I talk about Tom Cruise or even Arnold Schwarzenegger. So we were even talking earlier, like you were saying The Rock, right? And obviously he's pretty much following the same pattern as Arnold Schwarzenegger, but there's just something
about him
missing that doesn't make him Arnold to me.
So you would put Dwayne under Arnold?
What? In a mausoleum under Arnold.
Really?
1,000%. I saw Arnold Schwarzenegger drop down from he hopped into a cabin. It got shot up by 800 AK-47s. Somehow he got up in the rafters, dropped down upside down, and threw a Cuisinart disc that scalped a guy, and I believed it.
You know what's funny? You had me for a second. I'm like, damn, did this really fucking happen?
See, because it's Arnold, and you have to believe it for a second.
He could really beat somebody. Arnold. Okay, so to me, Arnold is Arnold. He's just Arnold. He's just Arnold. Everywhere he goes, he's Arnold Schwarzenegger. And the thing is, he's never been the type to change anything. So, like, he's, muscular. You think of Arnold as a muscular guy. You think of Terminator.
For me, Arnold was always being Arnold Schwarzenegger, and The Rock is Dwayne Johnson acting like The Rock.
Yeah, I could see that. But I guess that's why they fall in the same category. Because they do the same things. None of them really ever change their characters. Like, if you look at The Rock is the WWF Rock character, just a little bit toned down, and he has a goatee, and he plays Luke Hobbs. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? He has a couple lines that are a little different, but like in every movie, it's kind of the same thing. I literally was watching a little bit of Twins today in the morning, and I'm like, Arnold, I mean, you might as well tell Danny DeVito you'll terminate him later. Like, what the fuck? It's the same. It's the same fucking shit. You know what I'm saying? And more power to, mind you, they're successful at what they do.
Okay.
So I can't really hate on them that much because they're extremely successful. I mean, The Rock was at one point the highest paid actor in Hollywood. Arnold Schwarzenegger was probably at one point the highest paid actor as well. But are they great actors is the question. Can we put them in the same category? And it's the argument me and John have all the time.
Okay.
Like, can we put them in the same categories as your Viola Davises? Can we put them in the same category as Denzel Washington, Gary Oldman, Harrison Ford, all these actors, you know, Pacino, all these characters.
Sure.
Brando. Can we put them in the same category? No, they're not even on the same list of a million. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But they're actors. You
When
know,
I'm at home or when I'm riding around in my car, I want to listen to Kendrick. I want to listen to Ty Money. I want to listen to like some people that are going to be thought provoking. If I'm in the club or at a bar, I want to hear, I don't know, Nelly or who, you know, I want to hear
catchy music.
Yeah.
Music. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's the same thing.
The
Music. I look at music the same way. I look at it like to me, the greatest rapper in my opinion, lyricist to me is Eminem.
Eminem to me. All right, which Eminem are you talking about? You're talking about I'm still mad at my mom Eminem?
Pre-drugs,
or are you talking
drugs?
about hippity hoppity rippity rappity flippity flappity Eminem?
I'll tell you what. I think Eminem right now, since he's off drugs and all this, he's kind of sober. I think his stories and overall is more polished now because I feel like he tells better stories now.
Okay.
Because he's more in his own head right now.
Okay.
When he was on drugs, he was more aggressive, more fun. No, I don't say funny, but like he was a little more trendy when he was on. Like now, when I listen to his music, and this has always been him. Like,
yeah,
I can sit down and listen to the Marshall Mathers LP
exactly,
and catch shit that I didn't hear.
Yeah.
The first time I heard it. Oh shit! What the fuck?
Yeah.
Or like he has line that you know it has double meaning or whatever, and I'm like, wow, this dude's ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I haven't seen anybody really kind of nail that as much as he is. Now, mind you, I don't listen to a lot of hip hop anymore. When I was younger, it was like Nelly and Ludacris and those.
Got you.
But Eminem was one of those, and he's like, to me, anything less is under him. You know what I'm saying? He's the cream of the crop for me.
I got you.
You know, he just has a talent that's kind of unique.
So what he does now. So when he was, and I'm glad he got his life together. I stopped drinking a few years ago. You know what I mean? So hats off to him. But like now, like you said, he's more in his head and doing it. It feels like he's taking the lane of, all right, rap is a science, and I'm gonna get the most scientifical way that I can about it.
And this is why he's not so popular. Why his music, you don't hear his music because his music is not trendy, right? So if I compare them to like Hispanic, I'm Puerto Rican, so like if I compare him to like Hispanic music, Eminem is like an artist called Calle 13.
Okay.
Calle 13 or Residente, he's a lyrical beast.
Yeah.
Like this dude can rhyme for fucking days.
Yeah, for
right?
eons.
But he's not popular because of his style. Right? Because he's not trendy. Because who's trendy? Bad Bunny's fucking trendy.
Yeah.
Bad Bunny's blowing everything up. You know, now he wants to be an actor too, which is interesting. I just saw him in a trailer the other day.
Ooh. T.I. wants to be a comedian.
You know what? That's not fair. Hold on. Let me say it real quick, and we'll go back to this rapper thing. I find that to be unfair because Bad Bunny and more power to him because he's gonna be an actor, right? More power to him. But would he be an actor if he wasn't Bad Bunny?
No.
That's my thing. I'm like, it's not fair because he's not going through the grind that I'm going through.
Sure.
As I want to. Now he went through his own grind for being an artist.
Fair enough.
For being a rapper.
That's what I'm saying. Is Michael Jordan playing AAA White Sox?
Yeah, I mean
that's a walk on.
Yeah, he sucked.
He sucked garbage.
He fucking sucked at it. Again, more power to him. I respect his, but it's almost like the same thing with The Rock and Arnold Schwarzenegger, for example. So The Rock was a famous WWE superstar.
Yes.
One of the hottest ones. I mean, you would put him on your Mount Rushmore of wrestling, right?
For as far as Mike wrestlers go, he's got to be top 3.
Sure. So his transition, his popularity helped him become an actor.
Yeah.
Hands down. Did he work for it and got better at it? Sure. But that helped him. Arnold was known in the powerlifting game.
Yeah.
He was Mr. Olympia. All his awards were before he went into acting. So he was just lucky enough that they were looking for a big guy to film a movie.
To say 7 words for his first 3 movies.
Yeah. I mean, in Terminator, he only said like 5 lines.
Yeah. Conan, what did he?
Yeah, Conan too, and then the one in Manhattan when he was like he was like a barbarian or some shit.
Yeah.
He was just lucky enough to do it. But again,
Red Sonja, you were talking about just now.
yeah.
Jeez.
I mean, you can't really fucking compare it. And again,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be like I'm pissed off because more power to him. He got
Mhm.
he's Puerto Rican and I'm happy for him.
Yeah.
But it sucks to see it because I'm like, shit. I'm pretty sure he didn't have to fucking audition for that part.
Here's where I think you might be misreading that. Now, in my eyes, I'm a comedian, right? You're an actor. I know how hard it is to be a comedian and
Right.
consistently go into different rooms, different platforms, and especially as myself, walk into a room where basically nobody knows me, and then go from 0 to 60, try and give these people a good show.
Right.
You know what it's like to walk on a set where at this point in your career, I'm assuming not everybody in the building, there's not red carpet and rose petals at your feet,
Right.
and then you have to stand, in front of an all-star, deliver your lines, fucking deliver the pizza, and then keep it moving, right? And that's hard. It's hard, right? And I can only imagine as far as acting goes. It's so hard that if you're not good, they gave Rihanna 1.5 movies to try. And they said, you know what, go sell makeup and make $1 billion. I don't want you in Battleship Boats Part 2 at all.
That's crazy.
It's like acting has to not be easy. And so let him do that. Like T.I., if T.I. starts selling out Madison Square Garden
I agree with you.
and just slaying them, I'll be jealous. I'll be the first to admit it. But then I'll be like, all right, hats off to you, bro.
I mean, and I will say, when it comes to Bad Bunny, it's interesting because he was on a TV show on Netflix. I think was his first thing. It's like Narcos or some shit like that.
Okay.
And now he's in a movie, and he has a pretty good action scene with Brad Pitt. It's called Bullet Train. I think it's called Bullet Train.
Okay.
I think it's the movie, and he has a nice little scene with Brad. I think it's Brad Pitt. And again, I mean, he looks like he's gotten better. I mean, I'll give him credit. My only gripe is it's like it would be cool if they had to go through the same stretch that every person does in the beginning. But obviously, their popularity. Obviously, you got to remember it's a production, right? They're in it to make money. Everything's about money, So like, same thing with the WWE. They bring Bad Bunny in all the time. Yeah, Bad Bunny's not a wrestler, but guess what he does bring? He brings in dollars. Because people are going to watch. Because he has such a fan base that people are always going to watch. Same thing when you hire The Rock. When The Rock was coming up, you didn't hire The Rock because he was, freaking Denzel Washington. Who cares how he acts? He's going to bring in seats. He's going to fill up seats because people know him. He has fans. They're going to come and watch it, even though it might suck. Because I think his first couple movies weren't all that great. I mean,
he's a workhorse, though. You can just tell his vibe that he's...
You ever follow him on Twitter? On Instagram?
Yeah.
Boy, that dude lives in the gym.
Eats pancakes once a week, and then otherwise he's just a monster, a goblin in the gym.
You know what though? I will say one thing: when you're famous like him, and the production pays you that amount of money, I'd look like him too. So if a production told me, "Hey, we're gonna give you this part, but you got to look like Captain America in 5 months," how much am I getting? Oh, okay, I'll be in the gym 5 times a day.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's different because it's funny because he'll post like, oh, hardest workers in the room, blah, blah, blah. Let's get out here and work out. I'm like, bro, I'm at work right now. I just clocked in for an 8-hour shift.
Yeah.
You telling me to go to the gym. Like,
Straight up.
you have a gym that travels with you. Big difference.
Straight up.
You know?
You touched on something there that was interesting. So when it comes to the comedy side of show business, your socials are everything. They're I mean, over 50% of the pie at this point. When it comes to acting, in my mind, like the actual acting, that product is the promotion, right? And then the studio, whoever you're doing it through, unless it's independent, are also going to do a majority of the promotion. And I'm not even sure what stipulations you guys would have, like that would keep you from promoting or saying certain things, NDAs, this and that. How important is social media to actors these days?
I think when it comes to acting, it's a little different. Because for one, I mean, we can't disclose certain things, like, excuse me, like we can't disclose like, let's say the episode I was on. I can't disclose anything, pictures, anything until it shows. So that could be a turnaround of a couple weeks. That could be a turnaround of a couple months. I mean, the Amazon one, I recorded that almost a year ago, and it still hasn't even come out yet.
Got it.
And I can't really say much about it, because it's not out. So you sign a non-disclosure, so it's a little bit more close.
You're
with
a
it.
jerk if you try and tease it or anything
Oh
like
yeah.
that. And
I mean, they'll come. I mean, they're not gonna kill you,
sure.
right? But they'll
But
come
they'll
after
dirty
you.
your
You know?
name.
Yeah, they'll dirty your name or whatever.
Mm.
Unless you're famous, like Tom Holland or something, because he was big
then
on
it's
spitting.
charming.
He was big on spitting. Leaking information.
Yeah.
But you can't fire the star.
No.
You know what I'm saying? He can get away with it. He's
Plus-
fucking Spider-Man.
I've said it before on this show that if you have an English accent, you can get away with.
Oh my god!
Most
You know
anything,
what?
bro.
I've been realizing how many British actors are
When
fucking
Gary
amazing.
Oldman, when I heard him on an interview and he, yeah, good day, mate. I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
Bro, it's like, people say like, America has like no, we don't. To me, the best actors are in Britain. Bro, I think it's they have a thing about them, and I think it's their culture. Like they have this classiness to them, this way of speaking proper
Oh, yeah.
all the time.
They started off with that Elizabethan English.
Yeah,
shit.
it's
Wherefore art thou this day thy?
it's fucking inspiring almost.
Mm.
I was watching a comedy thing with it's like a stupid thing on YouTube with Benedict Cumberbatch.
Okay.
And he was trying to teach someone how to act in a comedy. Like, it was supposed to be for fun. And just the way he talks and he pronounces things and whatever, you're like, holy shit, like, I just want to talk like you, bro.
Yeah.
Like, man.
Oh, it's just so proper. Even when they're saying just the worst things.
Yeah. I mean, and even stuff that sounds stupid, like how they say water. Like, water.
Yeah.
Can I have some water?
Water.
Like,
proper.
but even that sounds cool to me.
Yeah,
like, that sounds cooler than saying
I
water.
gave him a proper thrashing.
Yeah,
like,
you know what I'm saying? Or this is bollocks
bro,
or that type of shit. It's just fucking awesome the way they talk. And I mean, and if you think about it, how many actors do we watch that play American parts that are British? Christian Bale, Benedict Cumberbatch, Gary Oldman, Tom Holland, Andrew Garfield. Yeah. The list goes on and on and on and on and on.
We are, as in America, we are consummate consumers. Because how many American actors are playing British roles?
Probably none.
Probably.
I mean, then again, I wouldn't be able to tell you because
you never hear about it. When do we even notice it?
I mean, I know there's a new is there like a new Harry Potter thing coming out pretty soon? I think I saw a trailer for it. I mean, are there any American actors in that maybe change their accents to be British? But it's usually the other way around.
Yeah.
You got British people that just change their accents to be American, and then they just kill the freaking role.
Oh,
it's crazy. It's crazy. Like when they did the Spider-Man, this new Spider-Man thing, I found it interesting that they interviewed all 3 Spider-Men at the same time.
Yeah.
And the only one that's American is Tobey Maguire. But Peter Parker, the character that he's playing, is American.
The other guy, that was in the 2 Spider-Man.
He's British.
Stop playing.
Andrew Garfield's British.
Stop lying to me.
Yes, he's British. He is British.
Like there's a feeling, there's a vibe, there's a like an emotion that hits me whenever I find out that somebody I thought was American is really a British actor. And you just gave me that vibe,
dude.
Bro.
He's British.
I promise. The first time I found out that from The Wire, who's the black dude from The Wire? When I found out that he was
who's British?
British.
He's British.
I said, oh. I'll tell you what. So, who's one of the oldest actors that you refer to? Because I imagine you study it. I study comedy, right? And I go back as far as possible, right? Who's one of the older actors that you refer to when you look?
I've seen some Brando stuff. When he was younger.
I heard he was method. No.
Yeah, he was method. Super method. Brando. Damn it. Like I was a big fan. You remember watching Liam Neeson's movie about the Holocaust?
Schindler's List.
Schindler's List. That movie was one of the first ones I ever watched. And I was like, this is.
Who do you remember who directed that movie?
Oh my God, I want to say
it's right there. It's a famous director.
Steven Spielberg. I feel like it was Spielberg. I feel like it's a Spielberg movie.
You're right.
I feel like it's a Spielberg movie.
Shout out to Steven Spielberg for not only unless we're wrong, for not only directing that. But also he directed like The Color Purple, like
Jurassic Park. That man had classics. He has classics under his belt. That dude's amazing.
What does it take to be? What are the qualities necessary to be a good director?
You got to be. I would say now. I did a short film not too long ago, and I'm gonna do another one pretty soon. I'm not directing this one, but I think you have to. I think you have to be a strong person,
okay?
Right, because you can't let your actors run over your project, which I've
Okay.
seen happen.
So
with,
is it safe to say director is the CEO of a movie?
The director is, I don't want to say CEO. That's a little too high.
Mm.
I would say the director is like the mechanic. He's the one that makes it work to try to get the image that they want.
Mm.
You know, because that's his job. His job is to come up with the shots that they want.
Mm.
And at the end of the day, it's your project, right? Because you're the producer, you're the one to write or whatever. My job is to get what you want.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I think you have to be, again, you have to be strong because if you have a vision in your head,
Mm-hmm.
right, you can't let your actors take control of your image.
Mm.
And again, I've seen it happen. Mind you, in smaller things. So like when you're beginning, you do a lot of like student stuff in the
Sure.
indie films, whatever. So one of the student things that I did was for DePaul. So I'm on set with the guys. I did my scene, and I'm one of those like can I hang around and watch?
Yeah, of
I like to
course.
learn. So this dude, taller dude, he's about my height, good looking dude, in shape, the whole 9 yards. And the scene was gonna be with him and some girl, and he gets a phone call,
Mm.
and he starts talking on the phone and talking on the phone, and he's on the phone for about 45 minutes. Literally, everyone sits down and starts looking at this dude, and he's just blah, 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 blah.
About nothing.
I don't know what the fuck he was talking about.
Right.
It don't matter. Are you a professional or not?
Mm.
Like I understand that this is a student film, and in the grand scope, it might be meaningless.
Sure.
But if you're gonna act like that here, how you gonna act when you get a
Of
real job?
course.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, you think on PD they're gonna put up with this shit?
They said Kobe was taking practice like it was
That's
the
how you have
last
to.
5 minutes of every game.
You have to. You have to be a dependable asset, right? You have to
Right,
show up
right.
on time, do your job, be prepared. You know. But like that was the most embarrassing thing I think I ever saw. Like I
Mm.
felt horrible. I felt horrible for the kids because these are kids that are in college trying to be directors or whatever. Man, you never know. This could be the next Steven Spielberg, bro.
Right,
And you
right.
just fucked up your whole career with this man.
And you would naturally lose respect for somebody like that.
Exactly. If that dude becomes famous or whatever as a director, he's never hiring you. You think he ain't gonna
Mm.
remember this?
Right, right.
That you spent 45 minutes on the fucking phone?
Mm.
But anyways, it's one of those things. I mean, directing, I think you have to be strong. You have to be understanding. You have to listen,
Mm.
right? Because listening is big. Because I mean, your idea, maybe somebody else's idea might be a better idea. You got to be understanding. You got to listen, and you got to stay focused on what you're looking at.
Now, actors, obviously, everybody's heard like plenty of stories, and they assume to know the personalities of actors and actresses. As a matter of fact, one of my questions that I had, when it comes to like the three main ones, right? Musicians, actors, athletes. Which of those three would you say is the top entertainment focus in the world? It's storytelling, it's athletics, and it's music.
And you mean as in entertaining? Like, what's the most
If
entertaining?
you had to get rid of two of them
For entertainment.
for entertainment, purely entertainment.
That's hard, but I would have to give up athletics.
Athletics, and then which is the other one that's got to go?
This one's hard, but I would say movies. I would say acting, because music is very impactful, and it helps in more ways than a movie can. Like there'll be those days where you're just stressed out, you just want to listen to something, put on some Eminem, and you feel great.
Yeah.
Movies don't necessarily do that for me. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't have the same like. Out of all of those three,
Mm-hmm.
music is one that I would say I need music
Mm.
because it hits more in the soul than anything else.
I definitely do agree with you. At the same time, I would say, I mean, athletics brings people together, right? Because you're going to have
point.
people from all walks of life coming together. And as long as you're good at the game, people are going to they're going to just view you as an equal. You're just going to be whatever role you fit in, naturally a role that you fit in on the team. And if we're winning, I give a shit what you are. We're winning.
Good point.
And when it comes to movies, I want to say movies have changed mentalities, have changed courses of time, history.
It's
Have
also given us a lot of
advised
ideas and
people,
stuff like that.
giving you ideas, right? Art imitates life, imitates art.
Right.
Like I mean, when it comes to Schindler's List, I mean, that actually like oof, whoa,
that really put what
opens your
happened in
eyes
to
to
what
it puts
actually
things
happened.
into perspective, right?
Yeah.
How many people are out there that are super conspiracy nuts and flat earthers because they saw Oliver Stone's JFK or whatever like that? You know what I mean? Like,
It's I agree. I think all three of them are necessary. You know what I'm saying? They
which one
all
has the most assholes in it as
the
far as
most
personalities?
assholes. Ugh.
The top athlete, the top musician, or the top actor is just a miserable piece of
I
hunk
mean,
of garbage.
dude, there's stories on all those fronts. That's the bad thing. I mean, if you talk about you talk about sports, I mean, they say Michael Jordan was one of the worst assholes in the world sometimes to people. You know what I'm saying? Kobe Bryant was a dick to people too. There's a lot of Sammy Sosa. Sammy Sosa smiled at the camera, but behind closed doors, he was a dick to everybody.
Why does Sammy Sosa not get the same heat Michael Jackson did when
He turned white.
when-
Oh my god!
why is nobody?
I didn't know that Cream was gonna do that. Sorry. No, he's
It was a vitiligo.
yeah, I didn't know. I didn't know. It's okay. It's okay. He's I mean, I agree he should get the same fucking flack, but I mean, Sammy got enough problems, man. Sammy I love Sammy when I was a kid.
Sure, I did not. I actually didn't know much about him to know that. So apparently, it's rumored that away from the game, he was just a troll.
What do you mean by troll?
Like like what were you alluding to? Allegedly,
Like with me, him and the thing about him is like, he lied a lot
about
about
the
steroids and
roids.
all this stuff. Like, I mean, to me, he's underappreciated because he was the face of the Cubs.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he was the Michael Jordan to the Cubs. That's what he was. But the Cubs don't even recognize him. Because he left
very
a bad
true.
taste with them. He left a couple games before he got traded to Texas or whatever. He left the game early, blah blah blah, this and that. This whole steroid thing. But I mean, you cannot cover what he did for your team.
Absolutely.
Like, he deserves to have a statue on fucking Waveland and Addison as much as anybody else does. Yeah. So he never gets invited back or anything.
When it comes to him, right now, you're Puerto Rican. Obviously, you're of a lighter skin tone. I'm black. I'm of a lighter skin tone. And I mean, with Sammy, he's Cuban. He used to be.
He's Dominican.
Dominican, pardon me. And he used to be, dark skin. Is that so? In black culture, we definitely pick on each other for being different colors.
Sure.
Right. And it's a part of. It's a part of our history, the past, brown paper bag test, the whole nine. You know what I mean? And it's a sore spot for some people, but it's just gonna be what it is, right? I'm gonna hear light skin jokes at least 3 times a week, no matter what. Is that a part of not only the Hispanic culture but the Puerto Rican culture? Because it's Puerto Ricans.
Hell yeah, hell motherfucking yeah. You man, I'm gonna show you after we're done. I'll show you a couple times where, like, so John, he's Puerto Rican, believe it or not. White complected as fuck,
I wouldn't
blue eyes,
right.
all the whole 9 yards. And everybody who comes, I remember one time, I had one of my buddies, Joey, who's also part of the LGBT community. And we were talking about minorities, and he goes to John. He goes, I mean, you wouldn't know about being a minority. I'm like, he's Puerto Rican. He's like, what? What? You're Puerto Rican? I'm like, yeah, he's Puerto Rican. Like, how many people go there and think that? But it's true. But like, Puerto Ricans are weird because we're all over the spectrum.
Yeah.
Like, we could be super white, or you can find super black Puerto Ricans. You know what I'm saying? It's all over the thing. Do we necessarily poke fun at each other for it? I mean, probably not. I mean, I think Puerto Rico is one of the things about Puerto Rico is really cool is that we all kind of have this amazing, like, we're from there kind of mentality.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
It don't matter the color. We're Puerto Ricans. Like, we kind of have this mentality.
I mean, it's an island. It's not the biggest place in the world, so I would imagine there's a certain amount of synergy. It's like,
Yeah, like, if it's one thing, Puerto Ricans are super proud that they're Puerto Ricans, and that's awesome.
That's beautiful. How does are you originally from Puerto Rico?
No, I was born here.
Okay,
I was born here. My parents were both born, or they were obviously from over there, and the whole 9 yards over there.
What is the general sentiment? So if you're born in Puerto Rico, you're raised in Puerto Rico, and I don't even necessarily know the exact answer to this. If it's like a region associated with America, if it's there's some kind of whatever the lock is with America, right?
We're a territory.
Territory.
So
So
we're like the Virgin
DC
Islands.
or something. Okay, fair
Like the
enough.
Virgin Islands.
Got you.
So basically, the United States owns us in a way, like they own the property.
That sounds harsh when you say it
I
like
mean,
that.
it's the truth. They own the property. They own the property. What am I gonna say? You know what? I'm kind of, you know, 50-50 on what happens on that island nowadays because it's very Puerto Rico's very, you know, in a bad place nowadays when it comes to like financial. Like especially because you know it gets hit with, you know, hurricanes all the time and all of this stuff, and it takes them super long to bounce back from that type of stuff because their infrastructure.
There was an earthquake maybe what, a year and a half, 2 years ago?
They had a really bad hurricane a few
Hurricane,
years ago.
right.
Huge, and it knocked out like everything. But them being a territory kind of sucks because they don't get the same benefits.
That was the one where wasn't it Trump like throwing paper towels like footballs?
Yep, that was it. Just giving them the Kobe fade.
He was handing out paper towels like Nino Brown, Nino Brown handing out turkeys.
Here's the thing. The thing is, I think people misunderstood. I don't agree with what he did. Trump, whatever.
Sure.
But Puerto Rico's always had that same issue, where I think Puerto Rico thinks that they're a state and they're not a state. When you're a state, you have benefits of being a state.
Okay.
So if you have a natural disaster, so let's say in New Orleans, here comes the United States, gung ho going in there. Gung ho, they're going in there.
Federal funding.
Correct. There's money to be spent for that.
Yeah.
When you're a territory, it's not the same thing. You know, because you don't pay the same taxes, you don't pay the infrastructure, not the same. You know, you don't have the same privileges that every other state would have.
It's a disassociated government over there.
Kind of like we don't vote for the presidency in Puerto Rico.
Okay.
They kind of have their own kind of semi-government thing.
Sure.
We're still underneath the United States, right?
Probably federally, but
right, federally, like we can't make laws and stuff like that. But like, we have a governor over there that basically acts as the president over there. But like the argument's always been, should Puerto Rico be a state? In my opinion, it should, because
I would say so.
Being right the way they are right now, there's no improvement. Puerto Rico's always been the same. You know, you got a couple hot spots that you go there. When you go to Puerto Rico, you go to San Juan, which is the capital.
Sure.
That's where all the money is. You go everywhere else looks kind of, you know, poor, you know, real bad. And the streets are bad, blah, blah, blah. The power goes out. The power's out for months because the system's so old, whatever, because they don't have the money to update. And that has to do with the fact that they're not a state. Now, the argument is, well, if it becomes a state, Puerto Rico's going to become a tourist attraction. Okay, that's a good argument.
Sure.
But what happens when you make something into a tourist attraction? You generate money. What do you need right now? You need money. You know, I'm not saying they should go in there and knock down the rainforest and make casinos.
Sure.
But you got to do something.
Now, how do like homegrown Puerto Ricans view Americans and or America in general? If in your opinion, IMO.
I guess like the rest of the world, like the United States is this douchebag
land of fat opportunists.
Yeah, you know, like I feel like that's how most people see it. You know, in a way, I kind of agree. I mean, we kind of have this conceited look in the United States, like and maybe rightfully so, because I mean we do kind of dominate every fucking aspect of the world. You know what I'm saying? Like even right now with the whole Ukraine thing, which I'm not a big fan of because I'm not a fan of playing Big Brother to everybody around the world. You know, I'm all for helping people.
Sure.
But I mean, think about it like this: we're getting hit in the gas pump right now for it. Definitely. You know, that's ridiculous. Like I drive a 4-cylinder fucking Ford Focus ST. 9 gallons of gas cost me over $50.
I drive 13-gallon Supreme guzzling German hunk of garbage that gets on my nerves. It cost me $97 to fill up.
That's some bullshit.
I was ready to cry.
That's crazy.
And we have a pipeline out to Alaska that's bone dry right now.
Oh man, that conversation's interesting too. How do you feel about that?
About opening up our pipeline, or about us being on a car on the red line and watching like some domestic abuse and going?
Both. Let's go with both. Let's start with one. You should be interviewing. Why am I interviewing you?
I'm learning right now. I'm learning from a more successful podcast. So, well, one, as far as opening the pipeline, right? I'll be honest, and this is a little hokey. It's 2022, right? They have a hydrogen-powered engine, like the format for that. I saw the Jetsons. They got fast driving, this, that, and the thirds. Like, we should have definitely put in, like, the infrastructure to be off of this so far, right? Aside from that, I think we have like enough oil reserves to like we have like 330 like billion gallons or something something ridiculous like that, right? And we need 30 million maybe and that'll last for a number of months. And you pop that in, boom, we drop the gas price a little bit, and there's a little bit of relief. But at the same time, and whatever we got going on with Venezuela and other avenues towards gasoline, but for us not to open up the pipeline for this to happen, because also keep in mind, gas stations are small business owners.
Yes.
They're working on margins.
Correct.
Like 8, 9 cents, 10 cents per gallon these guys are making. So right now it makes sense for them to drive the price up because of the scarcity. Now they can just basically draw whatever price that they want, and then everybody else has to fall suit and then just play the numbers game. And then we got Biden on the thing going, hey, guys, this isn't the time to price gouge and whatnot. We're in a capitalist society. Of course it is.
I think Biden's kind of I think we should start an age limit to be presidency. Like you cannot be I think he's like 81, I think right now. Like you cannot be 81 and be a president, in my opinion. That's a little too out of date of what's going on. Nah, should you be as young as the guy from Ukraine? I mean, I think he's pretty. I think like he's in the early 30s or whatever. He's a young dude. But I think Biden's out of touch. You know what I'm saying?
Isn't him and Trump basically the same age?
Sure. I don't think Trump should have been Trump should have been kicked out too. Now Trump. The thing about Trump. The one thing about Trump. Now I'm not a Trump guy. I'm not a Biden guy. I was kind of in the middle. I like things on both sides of the table.
Okay.
They both bring certain things. Trump's idea of, the whole made in America thing, right?
Sure.
And using our own oil and this and that. I was a fan of that because I don't think we should depend on anyone.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, I understand that global economics is a thing and you have to trade, and that's how money gets generated, throughout the world.
Yeah,
Obviously, I trade you oil for you trade me whatever. It makes sense. But it's odd that 2 years ago, around this time, gas was pretty damn low, right? And then Trump got out of NATO at the time, or whatever, and gas dipped because we started using our own stuff. A day after Biden gets into office, he turns over whatever Trump did, and now we got prices going up. So I agree with you. If we have this reserve, if we have this oil, let's use our own shit.
Definitely.
Why are we dependent on anyone else? I mean, again, anything that's going to be anything we get domestically is going to be cheaper than getting it from overseas. Did I say that right? Domestically is our side, right? Yeah. Domestic.
Yeah, and I am a habitual fence rider, so not to take any sides politically, but Trump was seen as such an unstable person that during his 4 years, you saw really nobody was who was out there popping off and trying to invade this place and that place.
Oh, people were saying that about this thing. They were like, "Isn't it ironic that fucking Putin, who's always been a threat, right? Putin's this isn't nothing new, right?
No,
Putin's always been a threat about taking over countries. It's not nothing new.
He literally wrote like a love letter to Ukraine, wanting to get the USSR back together.
So if we know that Putin's aggressive like that, So nothing happened in the 4 years of Trump, right? And I'm not saying Trump was a good president, but Trump had something about him where this dude didn't act up when he was in office. How ironic that it happened right after Trump left. And now you have a president who's looked at as being kind of a pussy.
We looked crazy pulling out the way we pulled out of Afghanistan.
Oh yeah.
Now we don't have, but now this is popping off in Ukraine again, before and after, during two democratic during two democratically run governments, right?
Right.
And my eyes, you better believe, not too long, whatever happens, whatever shakes with this Russia/Ukraine war at this point, you can call it. Best believe China's looking at Taiwan,
Like we could do the
fucking
same thing.
licking their lips.
So we
like
don't got no
nobody
fucking. There's no threat over here.
like, who's gonna what?
Now I'm not saying we should go over there and start fucking dropping nukes. I'm not saying
No.
that either. But I'm saying if you have a president who is revered and like I don't want to say feared because that's the wrong word,
Mm.
but you know that this man is business.
Yeah.
You know, people kind of stay in their lane.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? But once Biden went into office, all of a sudden, Putin, his big boy pants came on, and
Changed.
he's like, well, fuck it, this is my opportunity.
Oh yeah.
You know? And again, I'm not gonna blame 100% on the Biden administration, but I feel like that had to do with it. I think he's again, I'm not a fan of getting involved in people's altercations. You know, I understand that we're part of a group of like NATO and all that. If something happens there, obviously we have to respond accordingly. But it's just odd, man, because like everything is like and it's funny because the world looks at us like this. Like the world looks at like, oh, when they talk about the West, they don't talk about Britain. They talk about the U.S.
Yeah.
Like the U.S. needs to respond in this. I'm like, but first of all, if there was a war between Canada and America, is Ukraine gonna come help us? Is Great Britain gonna come overseas and help us?
By the
No.
way, Canada, the only country to have ever defeated America in a war.
Really?
The War of 1816.
Oh yeah, you're right. You are correct, sir. We need a war in this country. Maybe not.
I
I'm not gonna say it that
don't-
way.
I don't
Here's the
want
funny
that.
thing. I think America's very spoiled. I think America's spoiled because we never really had war here. We had the Civil War, which was us against us, but we never had war here because we're like perfectly positioned.
We have
on
the
map.
Joe Biden of countries to the north. Oh, sleepy ass Canada. We've got
we got the cartels in
and then
Mexico.
we got the cartels who just feed America just copious amounts of cocaine
Yeah.
nonstop and
Can't
keep
complain
us
about that.
wired up. So we're allies on both sides. And then to the other side, east and west, water. As far as the eye can see.
So that's why I said I feel like we've been perfectly, fortunately positioned on this planet. I mean, think about it like this: how bad could it be? I mean, how bad is it in Ukraine right now? Think about it. It would be like, so we live in Illinois, so Wisconsin's another country.
Yeah.
That's crazy to think of, right?
Oh yeah.
Like you're literally within a couple miles of a different country.
Right.
We're a couple miles within a state. That's a whole like literally like a whole different culture, a whole different like you know, ideas and all this. Like that's insane to like think about that other side of the country. It's completely opposite of what we are.
And then just their general history, being a part of the what is it, the United Soviet Socialist.
The Union,
Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy. At one point, they were all kind of like that one big body.
And they just
or
started
whatever.
breaking away one by one after the war. And now, you know, they go through Gorbachev, they go through Lenin, they go through Stalin, they go through you know, all these other guys, right? And now you have this guy who was like, "Oh, I love the old days. let's get the band back together." But you have a country, what was it, like 40 something million people there, and resources out the ass. I mean, they have crops, they have they have uranium, minerals, all this other good stuff. And you could tell. I mean, it makes sense why, if you were playing that game of wanting to grab resources, why you would go after those folks. But at the same time, no, you can't. They're an independent nation, and the fact that we're still living in those times right now, where somebody can. But what do you do when there is a domestic dispute in front of you? Are you like, hey, we're in a city where it really pays to mind your business, but at the same time, at the cost of what? Like, what does that mean about you, like personally? How do you internalize that?
So if I see a domestic situation happening in front of me, how do I respond to it?
How do you respond to it? Do you mind your business? Do you say, all right, hey, let me go ahead and risk dying for this situation I have no context for?
That's the fucked up part about it. You know, you it's probably even more dangerous to be the good Samaritan than to like you said, mind your business. You know, I think it all. I don't want to say it depends. That makes me sound.
It's like being
horrible, too.
Superman without the superpowers.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, if it's like a woman man thing, I mean, you try to. I would say I would try to like calm it down.
Yeah.
You know, but at some point, I'm probably gonna walk away from it. You know what I'm saying? If these parties, because I think, like you said, you can fall victim yourself. You know, the dude could pull a gun,
1000%.
whatever, blah blah blah. People are
1000%.
crazy nowadays. You know, I would say I would try to calm things down as best I can. You know, I mean, obviously, we're men, so we're like we protect the women.
Sure.
That's kind of our MO. But it's crazy to think about because it really is dangerous out here right now.
And it
You know?
feels like that's the role, kind of like the position that America finds itself in, because it is still seen as a primary superpower, right?
Right.
So
Oh, I see where you're
when
going at.
things go off somewhere, it's like, all right, is America gonna mind this business? Because you put it up to a vote, I don't think a majority of people want to go send guys over there, or send people, guys and girls, whoever over there, to start go fighting, dying, money, taxes, all that extra. But then we live in a city that has a Ukrainian village. I know people that I had to reach out to, that I reached out to personally. Hey, how's your mom and them? That are Ukrainian or Polish. How's your family doing over there? Oh, my mom's side of the family ran to Poland, but everybody's good. Thanks for asking. Type situation.
I think it becomes one of those things. I think since we're one of the most like diverse countries in the world. Like if you go to Ukraine, the majority of people are gonna be Ukrainian.
Oh yeah.
Here we have so many. It's like we it's almost like we have to like. I understand why we do it, right? I understand it. My mind is just like, at what point do we how much do we sacrifice? And it's one person making a decision because it's not a vote to do this, right?
Sure.
Like if we had to
sentiment.
vote for it, I think it would be cool if we like, okay, either we go back them up or not. Let's vote as a country. I wouldn't be opposed to that. But it is one person that makes this decision that we're going to go do this or do that, or or Congress, I guess, or whatever. But like as individuals, we don't vote for that, you know. So like, if I disagree with the concept of it, my voice is kind of insignificant.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, I understand why we're doing it. But yeah, we should help, right? I think that's why right now I don't think we're doing anything wrong because we're not actually, we don't have boots in Ukraine. You know, we're just helping out with ammunition and stuff like that, and food and stuff like that. Which I think
And I think
that's
another
great.
part of the argument has to be what is it, the UN?
Oh, of course, because we're part of it. So you have to kind of.
And then Russia's surrounded by 13 other countries that are in the UN.
I think that's what Biden said was his argument. Like if they try to invade anywhere that's part of NATO or the UN or whatever, obviously then that's a whole different can of worms. You have to respond differently because we are part of the UN. You know what I'm saying? That's a different story. I'm
Then
still
it went
not
from smacking my neighbor to smacking my cousin.
Yeah, basically, it probably kind of goes like that. You know, like I'm still not a aggregate of war. You know, like I hate the idea. You know, like I don't know why can't we just let people live? Like let's live our lives, man. Why like I don't understand. I understand. It's hard for me to understand what Putin's goal is here. Like you're just trying to take over the land, or why? What for? Do you really need more land?
Do you not feel as though, like, as human beings, though, like a part of our conditioning is to have an adversary, right? I mean, why do you watch any sport whatsoever?
Where would Batman be without the Joker, right?
They generate, by taking a position, by being a thing, you generate the opposite. What was Joker saying? I don't want to kill you.
Yeah.
I need you.
I need you.
Yeah.
It's an interesting, concept. I feel like there's always going to be like that competition, I guess, kind of like almost the same thing. Like, I mean, you could be a good basketball player, but if you don't have competition, then you're just standing still.
There's not one sport you watch that is just one guy or one girl or one person doing a thing. I mean, even racing, that's somebody racing the clock, but you want to see them doing with other people, and they trade paint and smack into each other. Bowling, come on, man.
Hey,
Anybody can bowl by themselves, but nobody's ever gonna watch one
guy
person
just
bowling
by himself. Yeah, there's got to be the competition.
Yeah,
it's entertainment. It's
there has to be an adversary. As human beings, there has to be adversarial roles, like a dichotomy, in order for you to be pushed to that next level. The fact that most of the people in this world are communists, just by sheer numbers, you know what I mean? Well, not even. I don't even know if that's probably incorrect. But I mean, China's communist. right? Russia's communist. India's like, what is it, a caste system or whatever
Sure.
they got going on? You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And then everybody over here on the West. I think probably what keeps America in that top position is that there is so much, everybody's invested in this country. Every other country is here. Like you were saying, if you go to Ukraine, how many Americans is whoever works at the embassy,
That's
a
about it.
few teachers,
Yeah.
and maybe some guys that aren't in the NBA anymore,
Yeah.
and then that's it.
Wasn't what's her face got in trouble in Russia the other day? Who was it? WNBA star.
And I think she's still over there,
She
right?
she was gonna go to jail because she had some like marijuana or some shit or whatever. She got caught with
Yeah.
some vape pens or
She had a
whatever.
vape pen,
Um,
which
I don't
I
know.
bet, would have never been a problem.
No, I mean it. Here's the thing: athletes sometimes are just stupid. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean,
Dumb as rock.
here's the thing: if you like, the same thing with that ball kid. Was it the ball brother that got arrested in China or wherever the fuck he got arrested? The middle kid.
Okay.
Um,
Oh,
and
right, the
Trump
youngest
went
one.
to go get him or whatever,
yeah.
whatever the fuck. Here's my thing: if you know you're in a different country that's not America,
Yeah.
okay, they're gonna treat you. First of all, if you do something illegal, it's different. It's a whole
Sure.
different treatment. Like, you should know better than that. I mean, it's not your first time. Like, you go there all she plays for the Russian team or whatever the fuck,
Yeah.
whatever. Like, I'm pretty sure when you took the job, they gave you a rule book of what you probably
sure.
shouldn't bring to the airport, whatever. So if you bring it on your own, then what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying she deserves to be locked up and freaking, whatever, but like, you can't be that fucking dumb, right?
Yeah, Brittany
Brittany
Griner.
Griner. Yep,
Griner,
yeah,
right.
yeah. She got caught, and I'm like, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I mean,
So I was a military kid growing up, right? So my first 0 to 18, I probably spent 12 years in different countries, Okinawa, mainland Japan, England,
That's cool.
right? And it was pretty cool looking back at it. And what I can tell you is that when if we're on paper calling America the number one superpower in the world, if you are Ron Harper, the sixth man on the most prolific basketball team, you're gonna have a certain arrogance inherently. Now, when it comes to the interview, when they interview the team, he's gonna be Ron Harper. Like, I played my
passed the ball to
position. I
Jordan.
just passed the ball to Jordan, and I hit. I pull up to the elbow.
Yeah.
I hit my shots. He hit me on the money. Blah blah blah
Yeah.
blah 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 blah. But when he goes to Ruth Chris,
He's
or he
ba-
goes
he's-
to
he
Cracker
is-
Barrel,
He's Michael Jordan.
he's Ron Harper. So when you're American and you go to America, I think this had to have been early '90s too. There was a kid that went to Singapore, and they have like, you can't even the gum's illegal in Singapore. They want to keep their sidewalks clean. So if you go to jail for chewing gum.
Right.
Definitely if you spit it on the sidewalk,
Sure.
right? This kid was out there, he spray painted, he was American. He spray painted like something on it. And they take that shit highly serious, right? They snatched him, kept him there, and then publicly caned him. It was a big deal back in early '90s or whenever it happened, right? And in America made a big stink. We're gonna let our boys get publicly caned, blah blah blah. And all the black folks are like, "He about to get ass whooping." I mean, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Yeah. But you end up being Ron Harper at fucking Walmart. Like, you just walk around with an inherent. There's a lot of people anywhere in the world that aren't gonna ever feel like they're number one at a lot of things.
Sure.
But if you're American, you have these inherent quote unquote rights. First being the right to say whatever the hell you want. And when you go to other places, you take that for granted.
Yeah, this is why I think I said it recently on one of my podcasts. I'm like, people complain about the freedom of speech here. Oh, I don't have freedom of speech. Really? Have you watched the TV recently? In Russia right now, if you say anything about the war that's not in agreement to what they want, you go to jail.
Yeah.
How ironic that doesn't happen here in America. You can say basically whatever you want to say. I mean, we were talking about the whole cancel culture thing and whatever. Like, I don't think that should exist. And we do take it for granted.
I think
because in other countries it does not exist.
It does not exist. I think non-patriotic people in America is just as beautiful as patriotic people. The fact that you can say, "Screw this! I don't like this. This country's garbage." Blah 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 blah. I think that is also a part of the fabric that makes
Absolutely.
America what
Absolutely.
it is.
My only gripe with cancel culture is that I've always felt like, a lot of people like to talk about, what's fair
Mm,
in the world right now and what's not. If we're gonna be fair, let's be fair.
mm.
You know, like Whoopi was in trouble not too long ago. Whoopi Goldberg in
Certainly
trouble, right?
was.
Now, do I want her to be canceled? No. I think what
Mm.
she said was wrong. I disagree with it.
Mm,
Right? Me personally, I disagree with it. Do I want her to be canceled? No,
mm.
because she has the right to say what she wants.
Yeah.
You know, the only argument I had was if you look at, let's say, what's her face from, she was on The Mandalorian. She said something stupid too. She was a an MMA fighter. Damn it,
Ooh.
what's her name? Oh crap, what's her name? Damn it, damn it, damn it, damn it. Whatever.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
she's a white girl.
Green
right?
screen, by the way. Big Joe's gonna pop it on.
So she said something kind of similar,
Okay.
and then she said something about
vaguely remember
statuses. She
this.
said something about statuses. So she
Mhm.
was like, "Oh, I want my what do they use? My pronouns to be beep bop boop or whatever." She said something like
Okay,
that
got it,
or
got it,
whatever,
got it.
and she got flack
Mm.
hard that they canceled her from Disney. They were gonna have a spin-off with just her character.
Oof.
They canceled all that shit. They fired her. Gina Carano's her name.
Okay. Nice.
Gina Carano's her name. They fired her, the whole 9 yards. And I'm like, okay. But Whoopi still has a job.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Neither of them should have lost their jobs.
Sure, exactly.
Neither of them should have lost their jobs. But fair is fair. And if we're arguing over fair, why does Whoopi still have a job and Gina Carano sitting at home?
Sure.
Maybe you can say, okay, well, Whoopi is a better known actress. She's been there for longer, which is true. More popular person. But again, why is that even an issue at this point? Again, I think you should be able to say whatever you want to say.
That's
without
why I
a
say
fear of
fair
being
enough.
canceled.
You're absolutely in my eyes. I don't know. I'm parallel to your
This
street.
conversation got serious
I'm
real
parallel
quick.
on your street, but I don't know if we're on the same exact road. Because in
Sure.
my eyes, that's why I say fair enough. Because to me, fair doesn't exist. There's no such thing.
I can agree with that.
What's 50,
I can agree with that.
right?
I can agree with that.
Because if we take it back to Arnold, right? Arnold Schwarzenegger in his penultimate role as Terminator, he walked into a police station and blew away at least 57 cops. Right? But
With an Uzi.
But when NWA came out, they just said F the police.
It was a big deal.
It was
a huge deal.
And if it wasn't for the fact that Arnold was born in Austria, he easily have been the president. Decent chance President Dwayne Johnson in our lifetime, humongously decent chance.
Of course.
Right?
When he was fucking, wasn't he teasing that?
Of course.
When Dwayne was fucking
there's no way
teasing in
you
the
have
whole
that
nine.
much charisma,
Popularity
power,
and
and popularity,
and not
you
win.
don't run for which would be the dumbest thing in the world for him to turn everybody that likes him into immediately
Pick a side.
47% people that just loved you now hate you.
Right.
But at the same token, like when we get to pick those sides and say, all right, well, this is different for whatever, it doesn't matter what reason. There's something that my algorithm for my social media interaction has taught me is that one, I like hip hop, then I like kittens, and then I like breakdancing. In that order, apparently.
That's a hell of a bet, boy.
All I know is if
Those
I do
things
my
all
thumb
go
like
one
this,
and one. Those are all one and one,
if
bro.
I do my thumb 5 times,
Man.
that's what's gonna pop up every single time.
That hip hop and kittens thing is just that's 1 and 2 right there, bro. That's
But if I come across like a skippity pap TikTok video on kittens, it's gonna have, if it has 10,000 likes, it's gonna have 1,111 dislikes, and nobody dislikes kittens doing skippity pap stuff on TikTok. But there's just gonna be the anti. It's gonna
Right.
be the Joker to everything. That's just
Sure.
fucking.
I again, I don't know. To me, it's just like sometimes we take things way too extreme for simple things. You know, like again, when it comes to these two particular ladies, should it have been that big of a deal? maybe. I mean, yeah, they offended people,
Okay.
and I get it. They offended people. I get it.
Mm.
But I mean, life is not always going to be what you want it to be.
Sure.
You know, do I get offended if somebody says Puerto Ricans are never on time? No, it's probably true.
Mm.
You know, but I mean, it is what it is. I mean, am I gonna kick and scream over it? Nah, I'm just gonna keep. I
Sure.
keep moving on, and I try to make changes as I can. You know,
Mm.
but I mean, again, like I said, I think especially with people like you and I, we have, you know, we have outlets that we talk on. You know, and it's funny because like with me, it's weird because like I mean, I'm an actor, you're a comedian. I'm signed with an agency, so like I have to kind of watch what I say sometimes, and it sucks to
Of
even
course.
think of that. You know,
You're
like I shouldn't
representative.
have to watch what I say. You know, I
Yeah,
should be
yeah.
able to say what I want to say, be it positive, be it negative, or be it agreed with 90% or 10% or
Sure.
whatever. You know what I'm saying? And this is the mentality. I feel like we just can't have conversations nowadays.
Mm.
That's what I've always felt like this younger generation. I mean, I'm 35. How old are you now?
41.
Okay, so we're not super far away from we kind of grew up in the
Yeah,
same
yeah.
kind of era. Um, I've always said it. I'm like I feel like nowadays it's like you can't have conversations
Mm.
without it becoming like you're on this side of the table and I'm on that side of the table and we cannot be on the same side of the table because you agree with
Yeah.
like that sucks.
Of course.
You know, like we should be able to have a conversation even if we disagree. Even if we disagree. At the end of the day, we can have a conversation, maybe learn something, maybe something we didn't know or think of or
Sure.
whatever, and then at the end have a drink.
I might actually stop saying cancel culture and start saying cancel context because that's really what it feels like to me, what it's about. Because it's not what you say, it's how you say it. The
Sure.
words that
Mhm.
come out of your mouth, they look crazy on a deposition in court. Otherwise, if it's just two guys talking, then you should get the vibe from how I'm saying something, the way I'm playing around with it. You know what I mean? Like, who's even having just a straight down the line conversation these days without sarcasm, right? But that's what'll catch you in court is if you're being sarcastic about something, and then you just have the judge say, I'm gonna smack you until your eyes fall out of your head." That looks crazy if somebody's just reading in a monotone in front of a jury.
Right.
But if I'm saying it in a regular conversation, that's what probably trips a lot of people up is because I can say something in one context, and then I'm like, yo, if you're like, hey, John's not here, but he thinks that Arnold Schwarzenegger is,
The greatest freaking
one of the greatest. I'll be like, that guy's a fucking idiot, right?
But then if you write that down, it just how did he say it?
Yeah, exactly. That's the first thing you're gonna ask is
Right.
how does he say it?
Right.
And in between me and you, and then him playing that game of phone call or phone tag or whatever, you can take the exact same words that I said
And twist it 50
and
different times.
change the context.
There's the danger. Is that we don't okay, so we've gone away from actually talking and we talk through keyboards.
Mm,
And reading something is not the same as saying something.
well, not
You know,
at all.
I remember people used to tell me like um just call me because I don't understand what you're saying.
Yeah,
What do you mean? I spelled it out for you. Yeah, but I don't know what you
Yeah.
meant. You know,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
the
yeah.
emotion behind it means a lot.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, and a lot of things could be misconstrued and misunderstood through texting and writing on Facebook. Because social media has kind of become a thing. You know, that wasn't how we.
Yeah, they might
That's
be
not how.
onto something with that.
I mean, that's not how we grew up. You know,
Yeah.
we grew up. If you have a problem with something, you talk to them. There
Mm.
was no attacking you on social media.
Mm.
Friend request, and then I'm gonna blast you on your whatever on your comments. Like, there was
Oh,
none
yeah.
of that. You know what I'm saying? And again, I feel like this era lacks this sense of communication,
Mm.
like actual communication, actual sitting down having a conversation with
It's going to
someone.
be interesting to see how it manifests for the generation that's growing up, and this is all they know. So it's not different. Like we're the part where you are probably the very last of the generation that grew up
Repeat what I
analog,
always fucking say. Godly,
that grew up analog,
you're
and
my
then
favorite person on the
crossed
planet
over
right now.
into digital. Yeah, man.
Dude, you're my favorite. You're my favorite person on the planet right now. Because I've said that.
If you tag that with and you're funny, then we go together.
Dude, fuck. I literally have said that a million times. I literally feel like I am the last of the air of the I'm the last of a breed that knows what it's like prior to what we have today.
No, yeah.
Because I kind of grew up at the tail end of that before the digital kind of revolution, if you want to call it.
I literally remember the day my mom came home from our neighbor's house and was like, "You ever heard of the internet?"
I remember I was talking to one of my buddies at work. He's a younger dude, and we were talking about how long like the Batman movie is. I'm like, yeah, I remember when like the longest movie was like Titanic,
Oof.
and it came on 2 VHS tapes.
Oh.
And he's like, what? I'm like, yeah, VHS
Oh, yeah.
tapes or Betamax or
Oh, yeah.
tube televisions or whatever or 8 tracks and whatever. All this
It's got
old.
CD books,
I
bro.
mean, it's hilarious how technology's changed. That's kind of my thought on that concept.
this
Speaking of, actually, did you hear about that actor guy that got he just got a couple 100 days of in jail time for? He was the one that he faked getting beat up. The guy from The
Jussie
Chi?
Smollett.
Yeah, he just got 160 days in
Yeah,
jail
yeah.
or whatever. That was
Consummate actor the entire time, because even at the end, he was like,
means that I stuck my fist in the fears of black Americans in this country for over 400 years and the fears of the LGBTQ community. Your Honor, I respect you and I respect the jury, but I did not do this. And I am not suicidal. And if anything happens to me when I go in there, I did not do it to myself. And you must all know that. I respect you, Your Honor. I respect your decision. Jail time, I am not suicidal.
okay. I'm not. And you just like, how starved for attention can you possibly?
Bro.
Unless, I mean, I can't. In order for his mind to have gone to the place that it had to go to just to do what he did in general, what he's convicted of, in order for his mind to go there, there's a few pieces of that puzzle that's missing, right? But at the end, to play it out in court, you just got sentenced, and then you're doing the I'm not suicidal.
Dude, when I
this
saw
is a
that,
travesty.
when I saw that,
Mm.
I was like, this dude's an actor, bro.
Straight up
The
and
way
down.
I would have given him an Academy fucking award, bro. I'm like, here's one of these little gold fucking men for you, bro, for that fucking performance. Because he said that with so much conviction
Yeah.
and so much believability. Like, he delivered each
Like it was
line
pilot season.
perfectly, bro. Like, dude, I was like, I almost stood up and clapped for him. I'm like, bro, that was a good.
He was going for the Emmy for
bro,
sure.
he was going for the fucking Emmy. But I mean, why would you do something like that, bro? Like, it's almost, and again, I'm not saying, evidence shows one thing, right?
Yeah,
obviously.
right.
So obviously we have to look at the evidence and say that he lied about all that shit.
Mm.
But why would you do it? I almost agree with the judge. Like, were you just doing this for like fucking attention? Or what the fuck? Because I mean, why would you give up your career? Because his career is basically tarnished for the rest of his life.
And he's the butt of jokes.
Oh yeah, that's what the judge was saying. Like,
and
you're a
the judge
meme.
said-
Like, you're people are using you as a fucking joke right now.
And you have the most out of touch person by definition. A judge is possibly the most out of touch person on purpose,
Right.
so they could be impartial.
Sure.
Right. And then he was basically saying, "Yo, I saw that thing Dave Chappelle did. It's hilarious,
Oh, yeah,
juicy."
dude.
That's basically the subtext of what he was saying, and it's over. It's finished for that. So, obviously, in the acting world, there's addicts of all types, of all nature, right? Those attention addicts. Do you come across that a lot in the actors world? For me, on my side in the comedy world, it's the people who aren't able to shut it off, who just nonstop. It's going to be comedy, punchlines, jokes, and you're just trying to have a regular conversation.
I mean, I've seen it more like in smaller people like that. Like, they're like they always want to be more than what they are. Like, I mean, I don't know. Everyone's different.
Okay.
I'm the type of guy. I rather be. I'm not all about like talking about myself and what I've done and this.
Okay,
and
right,
this. I'm
right.
like I stay in my lane. I know where I'm at and I know where I want to go and I kind of just stick there. But there are definitely a lot of fucking characters in the business. That like
There's like a belief in yourself that it's necessary in show business, and then there's a level beyond that where it starts to turn.
yeah.
I mean,
Like, you're almost like it's
different
kind of
than
conceited type
narcissism.
of thing. Like,
yeah,
like like bring it down a notch. Like, we get it. We get it. You're an actor. You don't have to fucking show me every 5 minutes on fucking
Oh, of
Facebook or
course.
whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, here's a shot of me fucking getting to the set. Here's a shot of me sitting on the chair. Here's a shot of me getting up from the chair. Like, I
Oh,
don't
yeah.
care, bro. I get it. You're an actor. I get it.
Speaking of, so you were saying you had shot your short film, and then you're on your way to shooting another short film. Again, for my listeners, my viewers out there, independent film, right? What is some advice you can give as far as getting funding, the equipment that you use, the path that you take into making an independent film that's gonna work?
Well, independent film is basically what it is, right? It's low budget. Everything's micro budget, blah blah blah. Especially when you're starting off. Um,
Is there a starting? Is there a generic go-to budget?
I would say no, because I mean you can make
Whatever your
something really
resource.
good. Yeah, I mean you got to use what you got. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
Like me, my short films, it's like everything else. Excuse me. Um, you cast actors, who are looking for real and not money, because you don't have money to pay them. So the payment for them is a copy, right? So like for me,
Gotcha.
like when you're starting off, you don't get paid.
Right, of course.
I give my talent, and you give me a copy of the film, so I can use it to sell myself later.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So obviously use what you have. I mean, don't go fucking broke trying to film a short film if you're starting out, obviously, because you know what I'm saying. Like, I mean, you have no idea what you're necessarily doing. You're a beginner. Get your feet wet. Start small. Start small. Work your way up. I'm a fan of that. Like I see a lot of people jump really really far when they start off something. So like let's say they want to start a podcast. Okay, they start a podcast and they go nose deep, 10 grand, and they buy all this equipment that they have no idea how it works. And then 5 episodes later, they quit. Now you're debt 10 grand.
Right.
Like learn how to work it and then see if you really want to do this and then invest. Keep investing little by little. Same thing goes with indie films. Like for me, like I've seen people use $10,000 cameras in indie films, while I use the camera I use for my indie films is a $600 camera with a $300 lens. Cheaper, easier to manage. It's a basic thing, but if I can grab a basic thing and make it look good and learn how to use it, when I get to the bigger part, the bigger product, it's easier to work with. But if I jump the gun, I have no idea what this does.
Right.
Now your video looks like shit because you have no idea what you're doing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I feel a lot of people do that. A lot of people jump way too fast instead of learning the process.
Just go through the
Like they don't even read the fucking manual.
prep. Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like read the manual before you start doing anything.
What's the distribution?
Distribution, I mean, that's up to you. I mean, you could do whatever you want. If you want to try to go put it on Amazon, I mean, the good thing about now is like everything's on some type of on-demand type of product, and you can get anything on there. So you can get on Amazon, you can get on Netflix. Technically, you can get on, all these different streaming services. I have no idea because I never tried to do that.
Okay.
My stuff's always been on YouTube just because it's hella simpler.
That's still
And how many people can see it?
How many people are plugged into it?
You know what I'm saying? Again, my goals have never been to really make money on anything that I've done. That's not my goal.
Gotcha.
My podcast is not ever to make money or whatever. Even though I've made a grand total of like $35 in monetization, but
Let's say you're not too far
whatever.
from getting one of them getting one of them plaques. Start getting some promotion
Dude.
going, man.
I was thinking about making my own plaque and just drawing it and putting it
Just-
on the fucking wall.
With a crayon.
Yeah, something like that. My goal's never been to make money. My goal is to do something I enjoy. If money comes with it, money comes with it. That's not why I do my acting stuff.
Sure.
Yeah, it comes with money, but I do it because I like to do it.
Man,
Yeah,
with
it's
5K subscribers, you're doing something right, and for sure, keep on doing it. Once again, let the watchers know what you got going on, how they can follow you. Plug your channel one more time for me, sir.
We are on YouTube. The channel is called IMO In My Opinion with J&M. We usually upload once a week. This week we didn't have one, but next week we'll be back on, getting back to work.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. You got any TV roles coming up that people should keep an eye out for?
right now for me it's kind of slow. I'm kind of in a transition. I just switched agencies not too long ago, so that's kind of a transition. And then the only bad part about being on some of the shows here in the city is like it's like a one and done for 2 years, unfortunately.
Well, keep an eye out on a Chicago PD to see him. And I think you said you have one in the can that's going to be on the way whenever they release it, man. This has been eye-opening and a great conversation. Miguel Rivera, this is so dope, man. I thank you for having on Real R.A.P podcast. Shout out your Instagram.
My Instagram, golly, if I even remember what it is. Oh God, that's just embarrassing. I don't even know what it is. Hold on, give me one second. By the way, I'm looking forward to you being on our
course.
podcast as well,
Absolutely.
because we gotta
Absolutely.
keep working
I gotta
together.
I gotta see this John guy give me a piece of my mind about. I
The
want to
Arnold
find out who.
Schwarzenegger thing. Good Lord.
You know what? Don't tell him I said this, but I'm gonna say that I think Sylvester Stallone is better than Arnold. I
You know
want to
what?
see how he reacts.
I've said that before too. He almost took a swung at. He almost swung at me. My Instagram is actually gonna be what my family calls me, which is not Miguel. They call me Michael, so it's Maiko Rivera _IMO CEO.
Michael, but spelled M-I-K.
Maiko.
M-A-I-K might be the most Puerto Rican thing that you
I'm
said
telling you,
all
man.
day.
It doesn't even fucking make sense, but it is what it is.
Oh man, that's Mike Night Comedy on all platforms. It's been the Real R.A.P podcast. Love y'all.
Peace. Mike, now you straight from the south side. Mike, now you. I'm just so happy to be here right now. Real R.A.P podcast.